Hello. So this video is going to be a general sort of business analyst overview of the project, a bit of work around the workflows of exactly how I uh, anticipate the project to be working and what I expect out of a BA working on this project. So a little bit of high level to start with as to what we are trying to achieve here. So the client we're currently working on is called moneymarket.com.au. They're an Australian-based financial trading platform. So they do term deposits primarily. So users can log on and select various rates of term deposits and make deals through the platform with the bank. So they sit as an intermediary between advisors and customers. And the actual bank. So you can see here there's a whole bunch of financial institutions, some of Australia's biggest banks like NAB, CBA, all on here. And what they do is allow customers to log in, browse the rates, and then select a term deposit to place the deal. They're bringing on more products, but at the moment their focus is mainly on cash. And the idea here is that clients can easily invest money into cash. Now, there is sort of two websites for Australian Money Market. The first one is this one, which is their sort of live current website. It's developed in classic ASP, so it's relatively old. And this is a website that we won't be touching initially. So this is a website that's currently not worked on by us, and it has all the functionality they use, right? So all their day-to-day administration, all client data, everything is in this website. Now, there is a second website, which is the Australian Money Market .net website we're using, which is developed in C#.net. Now, this website is a sort of parallel standalone website, and this is the website we've taken a copy of in order to develop on. So, a bit of background about the relationship. I used to work for Australian Money Market many years ago and know the owners very well. I'm currently in the process of taking over the contract to do the IT work. So I'm building out an IT team that will be all, primarily offshore to continue the build of the website. The current IT company who's done the work for about 10 years is sort of rolling off for various reasons. Their business is sort of running down. The owner of that IT business is getting a bit old, so I'm going to be taking over. But what's happening is there's a bit of a transition period. So I'm looking to take over in full from sort of late 2019, but between now and 2019, what we'll be doing is sort of developing alongside the current platform and then releasing back to the existing IT provider to then release onto the live servers. So we don't have access to any of the live servers or the live data, though I can request some of the live data if needed. But what happens is the tasks will be developed and then deployed back to the IT company, who will then deploy that onto the website. So what we've got is we've got a copy of this website, and this is the one that all the development will be done on. The idea being that any new features are going to the new website, and then further down the track we will look to start moving all the features out of the old classic ASP site into the new one. So there's going to be loads and loads of work to be done. As I said, the current IT company has been around for about 10 years. I suspect this client should last for at least another 10 years with us. So that was obviously very brief. I can give further details. If we look at how we're going to work, so we are going to work in a fairly agile way, but with sort of no real scrums. The thing to keep in mind is that all the employees are going to be sort of freelance and all are going to be on flexible hours. So, we can't expect a certain amount of resource to work every week, but overall we're hoping to move tickets along at a general pace, because we'll have a sort of a big team that will all be working sort of part-time, if that makes sense. So to start with, we've got two main deliverables, the Confirminator and the order reconciliation. These are set up as epics. We have a third one called the undeliverables report, but this one's not going to be done for the time being. Obviously, the actual backlog is much bigger than this. I've effectively refused to take any into our system, because what I want to do is to get started, I want to just do a couple of tasks, get them working, deliver them, and then move forward with further tasks. So the two we'll be concentrating on is the Confirminator and auto reconciliation. I've got a DevOps task here, which is effectively for Alexei, who's setting up all of our development operations to keep working through some automation for the developers. So if we look at the Confirminator, which is the sort of most advanced task, from a workflow perspective, how we work. So there's going to be 4 types of tickets, and I'm going to set a ticket up for each type of task. Now, I know there's various different ways that Jira can be used. I've set Jira up in big companies with 200 people teams. You can obviously have a single ticket with a big workflow, etc., etc. What I have found though is if you have a single ticket with a very large workflow, comments and various things get lost throughout the piece. So what I've done is I've sort of split them into 4 areas. So these red ones are going to be UI design tasks. So they're pretty much just to describe how the UI should work. And it's all going to be done in text. Wireframe wise, you can do some wireframes, but it's generally not needed. Max, this guy here who's the designer, is really, really good. So he'll generally pick it up from what you've written, create some mocks, and then upload them for you to check. So here's an example one that's closed now. So for the import task, we've got this as the design story. It then goes off to become what we call a HTML CSS story. So we have a developer called Vladimir who does the HTML CSS. So what he does is he takes the PSD from Max and then converts that into HTML CSS. So you can see here that he's taken the import one and he has uploaded it to AMM13 to create the actual page. This is the page that's now created. This is pure HTML CSS. There is no data driver or database connection behind this, but all that's happened is in AMM3 we specified what it looks like, Max has then drawn it, and in AMM13 we specified here's the PSD, please create, and then he's created exactly what Max has drawn in HTML and CSS. I do this because what I found previously is the developers, actual C# developers, so they are full stack developers, and I sort of only hire full stack developers. Their front-end coding is generally a lot slower and not quite as crisp as sort of specific front-end developers. So Vladimir is very good, very quick, and gets things done to look quite nice. So it'll go from Max to Vladimir, and they'll be denoted by this yellow sort of light bulb story. So once that's done, then we'll get into the standard development task. So this is the standard development story. So in this stage, obviously, what we've got is we've got the UI designed and the UI developed. And it's off now to sort of put all the logic and the database tables behind each of the tasks and how they're actually going to operate onto this ticket. So this will be the main ticket you'll be working on. Though obviously you'll be, creating these UI tickets to start with, then moving through it. And this is going to be where all the logic is held. So we sort of specify out the table structures, how that's going to work. We're going to specify out the process, how that's going to work. And then this gets sent across to a developer to do. So this is currently with Ricky, who's one of the developers, to pick up and develop. He's then going to develop this on a branch called AMM2. And that will come into the repository, which I don't actually have how to do yet, which will come in as a pull request, and then it will get merged into the development branch. Ricky should do unit tests on the branch, and then there should be a pull request review done by the developers. And then at that point, what I would expect, and we haven't quite got there yet, is some sort of testing to be done by you on the branch as the BA to make sure that the functionality you specified is now working. And we will have various servers running, and there's various things that we can do to deploy a branch. So the idea is it deploys into the web and then you test it and give feedback to the developers. So once that's all sort of good and you're sort of happy with it, in conjunction slash... once you've completed the testing, there will be a QA task for every single task. So you'll do some manual testing just to check it's all right and looks okay. And then the QA guys are then going to set up sort of automatic testing. Now, for some of these really simple tasks, there's really not going to be a lot of manual testing required because the testers know what they're doing. But the idea being that we'll also be setting up a QA ticket to effectively say what tasks there are. Now, I haven't written any descriptions here, but I would expect that a set of descriptions would go in here. to say what we're testing for, how that's going to work, and then the testing guys should then automate these tests. So the idea being we have a set of unit tests on every branch, and then we have a set of functional automated tests that run, which means that as we go and over time, our unit tests are going to build up, and our functional sort of automated tests will build up, and we'll get good test coverage across our piece. So as a BA, you'll be in charge of creating the tickets. Generally speaking, I'll create the tickets to start with, but once we get into the flow, I'll expect you to create the tickets. But don't stress for now. I'll then assign you the tickets and say, here's the task. So you'll have a design task, a UI task, a development task, and a QA task, and then you effectively have to just fill those in, designing the process and watching it through. Conceptually, then your idea is to just monitor the tickets and make sure they move through the process. What I will do now is I'll stop here in this video. I'm going to then make 2 other videos, one for each of the 2 epics that we've got, to give you an idea of each of the 2 tasks. And I can probably go into a bit more detail as to what they're trying to do and your exact options. So any questions on this, let me know.